All right, hey guys. So I'm now gonna go over. I think this is the day 4 notes. Sorry, I'm figuring out this new site where I'm hopefully gonna be able to write some extra stuff and follow along. Okay, so I'm starting with this one. We have here question 2. Betty's Bakery uses a chocolate chip cookie recipe that calls for a certain ratio of brown sugar to butter as shown in the graph. So what is the slope? The slope is 3/4 or 3/4. Okay, and let me try using my pen. I'm going to do this color. Okay, now that's because remember, the numerator 3 is the change in y. So if I'm using this point, I would go up 3/4. The change in y is 3. The change in x is 4. So the slope is 3/4. The y-intercept is 0. Because it is starting at the origin, and the origin is 0.00. So the equation is y equals 3/4 x. The reason it's that is because if we wanted to have, my pen's messing up a little bit. If we wanted to have plus 0, we could, but it means the exact same thing, so you don't necessarily need to have that. Okay, what does the slope represent in this situation? So the recipe uses 3 cups of brown sugar for every 4 cups of butter, right? The y-axis is brown sugar, the x-axis is butter. So for every 3 brown sugar, we need 4 butter for it to be on that line. Okay, the y-intercept represents that when 0 cups of brown sugar are used, there's going to be 0 cups of butter, right? If you have no brown sugar for making your cookies, you're not going to use any butter because you're not making any cookies. So that's what it represents. All right, question 3. A plane uses a certain amount of fuel based on the number of miles it travels as shown in the table. So when the plane travels 0 miles, obviously it's not going to use any fuel. If it travels 30 miles, it uses 156 gallons of fuel. That's how you read that table. So the slope is going to be change in y. We could call gallons of fuel y and miles traveled x. Okay, the change here is 156. The change here is 30. That also applies here. The change here is 156. The change here is 30. The change here is 156. And the change here is 30. So it works every single time. So 156 divided by 30 is 5.2. Okay, the y-intercept, again, this would be the starting point or the y-intercept. If we were to graph that, it would be at 0, 0, which is the origin. So that's why it's 0. And again, the equation would be this time in the form of y equals mx, where y equals 5.2 gallons per mile. Remember, we could have plus 0 there, but we don't have to have it because it doesn't change the meaning of the equation at all. Okay, let's see if hopefully all these green marks don't mess it up too much. Maybe I'll figure out how to clear everything, but for right now, we'll just have to do it like this. Let's see. I wonder if I'll move it up. Oh, good. It moves with it. Perfect. Okay. So the slope, again, represents that 5.2 gallons of fuel are used per mile. The y-intercept represents that the plane would use 0, I should say, gallons of fuel if it's traveling 0 miles. If the plane's not moving, it's not using any fuel. So that's what the y-intercept means. All right, for the next question, Robert pays for his family to go bowling. He first rents shoes for everyone, and then he pays a certain amount per game that his family plays as shown in the graph. So again, the slope here, I'm going to use this point. Well, it's kind of hard to see. And this point, I know it's really hard to see. Maybe I should make it less. I'm going to try and make this a little bit less thick. Okay, so this is at 12 up to 21 and then over 2. So this change is 9. The y change is 9 because 21 minus 12 is 9. The x change is 2. So the slope would be 9 over 2. And 9 over 2 simplifies to 4.5. The y-intercept